Hey people, it's always such a vibe being right here on your screen, sharing experiences and powerful real life stories with you. Thank you for always rocking with us. It means the world. Now, today's gist is a little different from what we usually do. A few weeks ago, one of our amazing partners dropped us some feedback. Why not share practical ways people can earn money without certificates while also keeping them off the streets? And honestly, we couldn't agree more. So, guess what? Today, we're diving into something legit, impactful, and surprisingly profitable. Of course, it's what I do as well. Making money from PET bottle recycling. Yeah, you heard that right. We'll be breaking down the how, the when, the where, and all the juicy possibilities that come with it. And hey, if you haven't subscribed yet, I beg, hit the subscribe button right now because this is a spot where we keep it real. Telling true stories, exploring real hustles, and shining light on journeys that inspire. So stick around, relax, and let's explore this super satisfying money making venture together. Yes, my name is Oluwaseun. I deal with scrap PET bottles, PET bottles. These are non-biodegradable wastes, and of course, I know you know what those are. And when you're talking about PET bottles, you're talking about Coke bottles, those plastic bottles. They come in different shapes and sizes, as you're seeing on the screen now. In this course, we'll explore how you can turn everyday waste, specifically those PET bottles, into a source of income. They are commonly used for soft drinks, water, cooking oil, and other liquid products. And while they contribute to Nigeria's plastic pollution problem, they also present an income opportunity for entrepreneurs. And on the average, this is a fact that a lot of people don't know. On the average, Nigeria produces about 2 million tons of plastic waste annually, and only a small percentage is recycled. This is close to about, I think that should be about 100 billion bottles in total because 50,000 bottles on the average makes 1 ton. And then presently, there is an unbelievably high demand for PET bottles by recycling companies and plastic manufacturers in Nigeria. Some are owned by Nigerian companies, Nigerian owners, and then, but a lot of them are owned by foreigners, especially people from Asia. And these are the people you need to probably partner with. And we'll be talking about this as the course progresses. We'll be talking about a lot of these things as we progress in it. So, what do you need precisely for to start this? If you're looking at the screen now, there's a big space there. You need a big space, a very big space. You need a few nets. That's mosquito nets, and then probably you need a big Crocs, those footwear that you can also use in heading out and the likes. And also, we'll be making some shirts and flyers along the line as well. So, but first, let's also look at what kind of bottles exist. If you're looking at the screen now, you will see some white colored bottles. Those are called the white bottles. So these are very, very valuable bottles. And if you look at that screen very well, you will see that some have label and one of them does not have label, right? Then now you have the blue bottles, right? Those blue ones are also very valuable. They are as valuable as the white bottles in the market right now, and this also has labels. Now, one thing about the labeled bottles and the ones that don't have labels is that in the market they have different prices attached to it. The bottles without labels cost a lot more, about 20 naira difference, than the ones that have the labels, as you're seeing on the floor. So for you to maximize your profit, you may need to go through the extra work of removing the labels attached to those bottles, which is like this Mr. V, like the Fanta and all that. When you remove the labels, it looks a lot neater, and then also the value increases. But here's the little catch: those labels actually have their own weight, but we'll still talk about that as the course also progresses. So there are different bottles actually in the market. There are the green bottles, which does not really hold much value. The green bottles have all of them have labels, but of course, the more you remove the labels, the higher the value of what you are selling, of what you are supplying to companies. We have the green bottles, we have the brown bottles, which is the malt bottles, the beta malts, the maltinas, and so on. They have a lower value as well, than the white and blue bottles. And then, of course, you have these other commando bottles as well. You can also call them the green bottles, but they are a lot lesser in quality than even those initial green bottles. You also have the fearless bottles too. Those ones have very little quality. So amongst the bottles you pick or you buy from people, we'll still talk about how to get those bottles. I'm just trying to explain what these bottles are. Now, there are some that are very bad, like the ones you're seeing on the screen now. They are not very good bottles. They are sort of useless, but not entirely. If you have this type mixed up with what you have purchased, please hold on to them, because you can resell them to people who hawk around, those ones. But you will have to sell them at very, 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 very low rate. It will go as low as maybe 100 naira per kilo. Of course, you need a scale, but I will show you what that scale looks like along the line as the course progresses. So, as much as possible, I will personalize this course. I just like you, also a form of beginner, because this whole business started just this year. Um, so I have attempted so many formula to make this business grow. I have tried a lot of advices that I was given, and somehow it still remains stagnant. So all of the failures that I experienced, it's no use or no point for you to also experience all of that as well. So basically, my work environment is just my neighborhood, about 10-kilometer radius from where I stay. Everyone around here calls me Baba Onike in English. That means the father of bottles. Of course, as long as I eat and my family eats, I guess I have no choice but to wear it honorably. So right now, I have one staff and I have a company shirt, as you have seen on the screen. I also created a flyer. Now, that flyer, you can either design it yourself. It's just to sort of explain what you do and the benefit it is to people, because you want to, as I said in the introductory video, you want to employ your neighbors without them knowing you employed them, right? I don't know if you understand what I mean, but they can actually work for you and you be the benefactor. You are the one enjoying all of the work that they are doing for you. So as I said, I have just one staff, and I have a company shirt. Also, the flyer which was created, you have seen it on the screen. Everything costs about 22,000 for two shirts and 1,000 flyers. The good thing about the flyer is that you can only give it out once. You don't need to give me a flyer today and give me a flyer tomorrow as well. So as long as um, that is available, then it's totally fine. Let me quickly mention the misconceptions people have about the business, the myths and the facts. Number one, only the uneducated or poor people do this business. Well, that's not true. And while many informal workers engage in it, educated individuals, small business owners, and even NGOs are now entering the recycle space. Some are building full-fledged recycling startups, and some are even exporting. Right, so that's the first one. It's totally untrue. Number two, there are no real money in plastic waste. That's also wrong. The plastic recycling industry in Nigeria is worth billions of naira, and individuals can earn between 70,000 to 800,000 on a monthly basis. While you're watching this, please don't forget to subscribe, to like, and to share, depending on the scale as well. Number three, you need a recycling factory or heavy equipment to start. Well, I didn't need that. You can start as a collector with only sacks and gloves and transport. So that's also very wrong. People won't buy used plastic bottles. That is um, very, very wrong. In fact, even worse than the others. So there's a strong, consistent demand for PET bottles in Nigeria, especially the clean ones. That is confirmed. Then PET bottles are illegal or safe to collect and sell. Of course, that is totally wrong as well. It's fully legal. In fact, the government even encourages such. Um, I also hear myths about you can't grow the business beyond street collection. Well, many people evolve from street collection to being aggregators with trucks, plastic crushing operations, resellers who sell to factories like myself, then exporters as well. Then also there's this myth that you must know somebody in the industry to succeed. Talking from a personal perspective, I didn't know anybody, and I don't think I needed to know anybody, and I'm doing quite well, at least at the moment. Then there's also this myth that it's a dirty, undignified job. Yes, it involves waste, but so do many successful ventures. With proper sorting, gloves, packaging, and all of that branding, you can run a professional looking and respected recycling business. So you probably don't even have to be the one doing the job yourself. But if you want to do the job yourself, you can, with the help of the flyer. When people already know you, they call you. That's what they do to me, right? They call me, and I walk to where they are. Like I said, it's a 10 kilometer radius from where I stay, which is also like a form of exercise too. So most weekends, I run all of that business. So they call, I go with my scale, I measure, I pay the ones who want to be paid immediately. If I don't have at that time, I tell them, okay, at the end of the month, I will give them this, and they have a record where they write all of the amount that we are owing them or something, or you can pay them immediately if you do have the means to pay them, depending on the agreement you have with them. Then there's this myth as well that the market is saturated. Well, the fact is Nigeria is still under recycling. PET bottles litter every city, and less than 15% of plastic waste is recycled. So there's still a huge market gap and opportunity for organized players. And then also, I think finally, the last myth I think I can remember now is that you must enter the market to pick it by yourself. Well, that is very wrong. So for the purpose of this course, I personally do not pick. I don't pick the bottles myself, but for the benefit of this course, I entered the market to see the possibility of picking there, and it was quite difficult, as you can see in the video. It was quite difficult. So it's quite unnecessary, really. So why do you need to do that when you can liaise with the market cleaners themselves? Now that we have gotten that out of the way, the question now is, where do we get these bottles? So here are some unfailing sources recorded by me, and not just me, a whole lot of other successful recycling agents. Number one, which is the most popular, is you can get it from pickers, right? Those are the people that you see carrying sacks and picking on the roadside. So usually they look somehow, unclean because of the kind of work they do. Of course, you can get from them, but I don't really go to them to get these bottles. So my major place, or the major places I get them, place of worship. churches, mosques. So in this holiday, children, especially children, teenagers, they want to make a little, a little bit of money. So what I did was I shared the flyer I made in church and a few churches around, and then some mosques. So I buy it at 250 per kg per kilo from them, and I sell at 500. So the amount I sell kind of fluctuates. It depends on the amount they give to us. So they give us that price list on a weekly basis. So the company that off takes from you, they have to give you the lists on a weekly basis. Some give you even on a daily basis. You can get from homes and shops, especially try to engage the teenagers. They will be super excited to make a bit of money off business, especially this holiday. Um, and some of them, they have these bottles in their houses. What they do is they throw it away, and then the roadside pickers come around, they pick it up, and then they go. They would no longer be doing that now. You will see people saving up bottles just to sell to you and then make a bit of extra cash. Then you can get at restaurants and bars, right? So the key players here are the cleaners and the gate men. But of course, you can also make it official by dropping letters, official letters, or so, seeking their partnership. I will show you a copy of a letter you can write. I wrote that to three institutions in Lagos, and I got positive feedback from two of them. So you can also write this letter to any kind of institution. Could be primary, could be secondary, could be tertiary, could be any, right? So and also restaurants and bars too. You can write it and then send to them. So yeah, schools and institutions is another one. So this is a gold mine. To be honest, it's a gold mine. Some people focus solely on schools and institutions alone, like Unilag, for instance. If you go to Unilag in Lagos, University of Lagos, you will see that almost at just I can't really say, maybe a kilometer or so, you will see a bottle looking structure that people drop their bottles in. So they drop those bottles free of charge. It's students who drink water, who drink carbonated drinks. They drop those bottles, and then the cleaners come around, they pack it. So they are getting it free of charge. But unfortunately, people can't just enter the school and then start picking or packing these bottles. So it's strictly the property of the institution of the school. So you can, who says you can't partner with them? I partner with some of the schools, and they sell to you in tons. So if you're not ready to purchase in large quantity, you may not really focus your attention on that just yet. But if you want to purchase in large quantity and supply in large quantity as well, I strongly advise that you focus on schools and all of these institutions. And of course, it's not just Lagos State, cuts across all states in the federation. You can also check event centers. If you want 10,000 bottles per week, this is where you can get it. There are event centers where a lot of events take place on a weekly basis, and marriages, birthdays, burial ceremonies, and all of that. They drink water, they drink Coke, Fanta, and the likes. So partner with them, they pack it together and sell it to you. You can even have your own customized bag, waste bag, that you give to this event centers, hotels, and co, where they drop these things for you, and then when you come to pick it up, you just need to wait and give them the agreed price. I do that, and it has really helped me. Hospitals. Now, you may not really get so much from hospitals, because this majorly just focuses on people who are admitted and drink water. Of course, you're admitted, you have to drink water, and then there are some hospitals that also give out food. So when you eat, you drink water. So you may not really get so much, but it's still something. Instead of ignoring and abandoning that section, And most hospitals will probably even just give it to you free of charge because they want to dispose those things, except if the cleaners and the gate men or so, they are in the business and they want to sell and then make a bit of money as well. Then hotels and guest houses, of course, for obvious reasons. You will be getting a lot of these bottles from hotels. And then also finally bottled water companies. So some of these companies, they manufacture the bottles, but there are some defects in those bottles. So the ones that are defective, they pack them somewhere and then they either throw them away, dispose them, or sell them off. You can also partner with them and take from them as well. But this is not very common because a lot of these companies already have their directors or their staffs in that business. So it's a bit difficult to get your hand on that. The initial stage of this could be where you might face all of the challenges you will face, and that's why getting the flyers that would make people know how serious you are, and getting probably a customized shirt is what would help you. Now, if you look at the video, what is playing right now are bottles that are in a drum. How did I get this? This is a hospital compound, very, very close to where I operate. And all I did was just give them the flyer and they gave me this. And of course, it was sold to me. So what I did was I went there, I picked it up from the drum. There are two big drums that they have. If you don't ask, you probably never know. Two big drums. I checked the bottles, and what I did was I measured and I paid. Now, remember, if you do not ask, if you do not check, you would probably never know. Your neighbor might be drinking bottled water in his house, and you are probably thinking they take sachet water, right? This is the second drum. That was the first drum initially, and this is the second drum, and these are massive drums. The total of this is about, I think, close to 80 kg, or close to about between 80 and 90 kg was what we measured from those two drums, which of course is a lot on its own. And then also, once you measure and you pay, right, the good thing there is you can also become a customer, a continuous customer, not just a one-time thing. You're not just going there, picking it up, and then they forget you. So every day, it's now going to be a conscious effort from them for you to be the person who takes off these bottles from them on a regular basis, which is, of course, what you also need, what you also want. That's the purpose of why you are there in the first place. So you go there with your sacks, you pack it, and that's the scale on the tire there, which is used in measuring. I would also show you how I measured, or where I measured in while at the hospital. Yeah, so this is the point where I measure. Now, this particular bag measures 1.7 kg. Right, so if you don't have a big container to measure it, you can measure it in bits and then pour into your own net and then take away. Like I said, I have a staff. We do this together. We go together, and we have been able to achieve quite a lot in a short period with this method, without having to pick from gutters or from the bush or from the people who pass by. Now, it's not okay for you to meet these people and then ask them to supply to you. Of course, it's awesome, it's perfect, as long as you hit your goal. But the disadvantage is a lot of them mix what they have. And you need to be extra careful because when you weigh it, it's a banana peel. Some of them would have bottles that are stuffed with sand or even water. It makes it heavier. So when you weigh, instead of getting 10 kg, you'll probably be getting 13 kg. And of course, you pay for 13 kilo, which isn't profitable for you. But of course, they would go away, smile to wherever it is they are going to. So while you're sorting, that's when you discover you made a huge error. And then, of course, where are they? They are nowhere to be found. It's not like you're going to see them knocking on your door the next day. If you see them the following day, they would not return the money. They will tell you they don't have that kind of thing, that it's not from them you got it. So you need to be extra careful when you are sorting. And you can't possibly sort a net full of bottles in front of them. They, of course, they won't wait around. So that's why I have sort of focused my attention on getting from very reliable sources, organizations like the hotels, the restaurants, the bars, the hospitals, homes, shops, and the likes. How do you now correct the anomaly of people who put water in their bottles? Unfortunately, you can't correct it. When you want to supply these bottles, you are not going to go with that water because they would process it right in front of you for most of those factories. It's not like you just go there, you dump it, and it stays there. They process it in front of you. So you see each bottle. We'll still get to that point where you see where the whole process is going on. So this is where we took from the hospital and then we brought to our base um, to come and add together. So we have a net already, which we use to convey to carry all our bottles. I think we had about 7 nets, and so this whole course we tried to run it over a 3 week period. Between week 1 and week 3, we were able to get a total of 567 kilo. That was what we supplied. 567, no, 568 kilo rather. So along the line, we'll show you how we were able to achieve that. So of course, we were getting these bottles in waste paper nylons, nylons, and we come back, we pour it. Now if you look at these bottles that are being poured, they are already peeled. There are no labels there. So this is also an example of the letter that we sent. If you look at the letter very well, it's dated 10th of June 2025. Now this was sent to University of Lagos, and luckily for us, it was very accepted. Very, very much accepted. But there are some schools you send it to and they tell you that they are not accepting it, that they are also supplying to other companies. Now here is 300. Now let me show you what the sell rate is. Okay, so if you look at this as well, you will see the sell rate and the different bottles. Now this is what your off-taker will be sending to you on a weekly basis. Could be daily, right? Because it changes. I think dollar rate also is a major factor of that. So this is what you would also use in analyzing your buy rates. So by week 2 of consistent gathering and knocking on doors, and remember, like I said, it's just the first couple of days or weeks that will appear extremely stressful, and that's when you are sharing the flyers and getting people to know what you do, making them understand the importance of what you do. So by week 2 here now, we had already gathered a few of those bottles, and then we were trying to put them together. But while doing that, we discovered the space occupied by the bottles was getting bigger, right? It was occupying larger space, but weight was not increasing significantly, right? So it's the space occupied because of the way bottles are molded, the way they are the physical nature of the bottle. There's so much air inside of it, so you need to let that air out, so you need to find a way to compress it. That was what we did. So there is the regular industrial compressor, which costs millions. You probably might not be able to afford that right now. I can't afford that at the moment, but of course you can still work towards getting to that point. But in the interim, you can compress with your leg and just step on them or just squeeze them. This way you get to minimize the space, so that even when you're conveying it, it doesn't just look so puffy and bogus on the trucks, which would also attract people to come to you to collect this roadside tax collectors or roadside I don't know, security agencies would probably want to collect more money from you because it looks like it's big. Right. So also as a beginner, it's important to know that sacks, the nets and sacks, and even the bottles, they get weaker as you expose them to sunlight. So for example, if you have a 10 kilogram weight of a bottle on Monday, say on the first of the month, for instance, if you leave it for a month, that's by the end of the month, if you weigh that same bottle and everything, you'll discover that you probably have just about 9.99 kilogram, right? So maybe 0.01 kg must have, evaporated somehow. So it's always best when you keep them under the shade, or you start the process and supply it within that space of 1 month, because you don't want to believe that, oh, I have 100 kg or I have 1,000 kg of bottles to supply, and then when you get to where you're supplying to, you discover that you have just 999 kilo, right? So that's another very quick pointer. So here now you'll see an activity going on where I am trying to sort the bottles, squeezing them as well. So while sorting, it's just okay. You can just probably remove the labels. It makes the value higher, but it's a lot of work if you look at it. Now, I would explain something to you why I sometimes don't remove the labels. Those labels, when you gather them together and you weigh it separately, it also has its own weight. It could be small, but it's still something. Now, if you have 100 kg of bottles that is without label, and you have the same number, not the same kg now, but the same number. Let's say the 100 kg of bottles is about say 5,000 bottles, and that same 5,000 bottles, if you weigh it with the labels, you might be getting about 104 or 103 kg or 105 kg, depends actually. There are some bottles that weigh more than others, so the labels have their own weight. Now, if you are someone who wants to expand the business and then deal with a lot of scraps, not just PET bottles, those labels can also be sold to another off-taker, some other people who buy those polythene substances and also, but that's not the purpose of this course. So you can either leave it, just crush it like that, it adds to the weight of what you have, or better still, you can remove it just for the sake of it, right? But if you ask me personally, I would say probably just leave it there. The weight itself is going to count when you are supplying it, right? It's going to count, even though, right, at the end of the day, you discover that it's the same thing, because the amount they would pay you for the bottles without labels is higher than the amount they will pay you with those with labels, right? So if you at the end of the whole thing, if you now calculate it, you'll see that you're probably arriving at probably the same amount at the end of the day will be your take home, right? So these are the labels which can still be used or sold to someone else. So you can probably just keep them, or if you have perhaps someone doing firewood, so you can sell it. It can easily catch fire as well when dry. So I also pick my bottles from, you can see here, I am not removing the labels anymore because the purpose of removing the labels was just for you to see. But here I no longer remove the labels. I just squeeze just to minimize the space, and I supply, right? So that is for the purpose of the course. But however, this location now is a restaurant. It's kind of like a guest house stroke event center. They give me at least a net full of bottles on a weekly basis, and that's because it's it's a hotel, it's a restaurant, it's a bar, and it's an event center. So they have like everything all up in one, and they have a lot of these bottles. So the secret to partnering with them is you need to speak with everybody without looking down on them, right? Don't look down on the gate man or the cleaner or something. They are the secret to you getting all of this. Not even the owner. The owner might not know what is going on really, right? So speak to them. If they have somewhere they are supplying it to, do not just go outrightly there and say, oh, leave the person and supply to me. Just ask them to take a share of what they are giving out, just a share, and you pay. So you might have yours paying maybe 5 naira or 10 naira higher than the other person. So if the person is paying say 250 per kilo, you can offer them 260 per kilo. Every naira counts. Every naira. While you're watching this, please don't forget to subscribe, to like, and to share. Every naira count. So this is also the same location but a different week. I think this is the final week, which is the third week, the week we intend to supply. But apparently I'm still removing the labels because the bottles without labels are now like a lot more than those with labels, and I do not want to mix them together. I don't want to supply them all together at the same time, because they will be valued based on with label. So I will be paid if they are with labels. The value for bottle supply with labels is what I will be paid, and I didn't want that. So you can have it separate, part of it with labels, part of it without labels. But either way, it's still good. It's still very profitable, something you can make profit on, either you supply with or without labels. Now this part of it, I didn't use my feet to crush it because they had cover, bottle cover, and removing the cover and then stepping on it is going to be almost impossible. You need to probably bust the bottle. You would need to bust it. But then the bottles here, as you're seeing, they do not have cover. Now this is a location that is not how do I explain this? Now this is like another person doing the same business I do but sells at a lower rate, right? So this person sells at a slightly lower rate than I sell. It sells to us, people like us who supply to factories, but she doesn't supply to factories. She has like a whole lot of businesses. She sells plastics, she sells bottles and all that. So we sometimes go to her to buy, and already she would have removed the label, so it makes it a lot easier for us to go there and then crush it with our feet, because she would have removed the cap as well to sell too. But yeah, you can find people like this too. This is using your leg to crush it. You can find people like this in your neighborhood, but if you do not talk to people, you do not ask, you probably would never know how this is being done, or how who and who are in this kind of business. But then using your feet to crush it is a lot more relaxing than using your hands to crush it. Now she has removed all the caps because she wants to resell them, but you can supply to the caps too. The caps also have their own weight. She has There are other people. There are people who buy those bottle caps separately than the bottle. They don't buy the bottle itself. They only buy the bottle caps. And the people who buy the bottle, like the people we supply to, I would also give you locations that you can supply to. Those people, they buy everything without bottle caps, everything they can buy. So these ones, labels have been removed, and you can see that they are white and blue, no strange color. And on your screen right now, you'll see some bottles which has been squeezed already, and this was at a bar, right? So for some reasons, I don't want to expose probably the name of the bar or something, but this is a bar, like where people take pepper soup joints, kind of. We carried out an experiment for the purpose of this course, and this was what we found out. So on the average, 1 kg of these PET bottles is about 48 bottles on the average, and those 48 bottles are bottles with labels. Now we measured 50 kg, and that amounted to about 2,350 bottles, exactly 2,350 bottles. Now if you take that to the market, to where we supply, it will be sold for 24,000 naira, exactly 24,000 naira. Now if you decide to remove the labels, to get 50 kg, you would need exactly 2,377 bottles. So you can see the difference of about 27 bottles, which means the labels of 50 kg amounted to bottles to about roughly 27 bottles. Like, that's the measurement. Now if you sell that, the 50 kg, you will be making 25,000 from it, 25,000 naira, right? So you can make that, how, I don't know how you want to use that information, but for some people who prefer not to go through the stress of removing the labels, well, it also favors them, because lesser bottles and you have still the same, kilogram. But for people who have where to sell those labels, it's an opportunity for them to remove the labels and sell it to other beneficiaries, instead of just making it go to waste. But however, it's always good for your bottles to be clean. Now this on your screen now is the final result of what we got, right, after 3 weeks. And it's comprises of clean bottles without labels, and clean bottles with labels. Some have been compressed, the others we couldn't compress. But however, we're going to deliver everything, and they would measure them separately. So if you join our group on Telegram, I will give you the number to join. If you join our group on Telegram, we would always be giving you updates on new locations and the prices, so that you have an idea of where to supply to when you want to make your supply. So what you're seeing is a work for 3 weeks altogether, gathering these bottles from different places. And please note that we did not work 24 hours. All we just had to do was make the right contacts, which you can also do. Making the right contact solves a lot of problems. It solves, in fact, all the problems instead of just going from street to street and then trying to struggle. So this is the final result. I will be contacting some trucks. I If you stay around my area, of course, which is close to Alagbado, you will see like a whole lot of trucks who can convey. So this is one of the trucks. This is where I go to get contacts of trucks that are available that can convey our goods. So you can also make that inquiry around your area, get these trucks to convey them. And so today is the day we are conveying the bottles to go and trade off. So this is loading the truck. You don't just load the truck and make it level, like trucks. Usually this type of trucks, you have to load everything, because if they move twice, if they come and then they go back and then they come to pick the rest and go back, that's double money for transportation. But on the average, it depends on the distance to where you want to supply, right? So the destination also matters, and the size of the truck. So on the average, it's between 15,000 to 60,000. That's the charge. So it depends on the size of the goods, the size of the truck, and the distance majorly. We're on our way to deliver it here. Delivery usually takes a long time in some places, because you meet some trucks and then those trucks would have to offload before you, and then they would have to measure the goods. So how they measure is the truck goes to this is the location where we took it to at Songo Goro Garage, Songo. It's a very popular place, but I will be giving you locations at the end of this video. So we met some trucks. All these trucks you're seeing are there to offload, right? This is what the compound looks like. Not trying to expose the area, but of course for business purposes, that's where you are taking it to. So people use different trucks to convey depending on the size, right? Some use this haulage trucks. This is our own, right? We are using open trucks. So this is the factory where they pour it into after measuring. But it's also very, very important to understand that when you are packing your bottles, please separate the ones that are labeled from the ones that are not labeled. If you mix them together, they will take everything as if it is not labeled, right? As if it is labeled rather. And you don't want that. You don't want all your work to just go off just like that. So personal advice, I would advise that if you are the only one working, don't go through the stress of removing the labels and then all of that. It's really, really stressful, to be honest. But if you have somebody who works with you, perfect. Please go ahead, remove the labels, and go and supply your bottles. But if you can't remove the labels, it's also fine. There's a machine that would do that as well, just that the pay is I think about 20 naira, depending on the location, 20 naira different from if the labels are not there, right? So but it's important for you to compress it so as to minimize the space that will be used. So this is the factory where we deliver to. There are machines that cater to removing the labels. Not just removing the labels alone, there are machines that also sort. So there are people who remove the bad bottles there. So while you are considering making profit for yourself, you should also consider sorting these bottles before you get there, because it would delay. If you have a lot of unwanted, they call it no market, like this one, no enter market, right? That's the way they put it. But it would be nice for you to sort them yourself before you go there. Now, when you get there, what happens is your truck goes in. There is a very large scale where your truck can climb. They would measure your truck and the goods together. So that will be measured. So if you have, for instance, a truck that weighs probably 2 tons, right, or 10 tons or whatever it weighs, and you have a load of 300 kg, right? So the truck and the goods you're carrying there, the bottles you're carrying there, they weigh everything together. Then you go and offload. Then the truck comes back and weighs itself alone without anything. Now, please, it's also very important because I made that mistake the very first day I went there. I went there with the driver and I carried my bag. Now, that bag has its own weight. I carried my bag. So when they wanted to go and weigh the truck and the load together, I removed my bag, right? I came down from the bus and I carried my bag. My bag had clothes, it had my charger, it had some very heavy appliances and all of that. So I carried it. But when the truck wanted to go and weigh its own by itself, right, I removed, I left the bag in there. Do you understand? So the bag also has its own weight that it's added. So at the end of the day, the weight of the bag would also count, and that is a loss for me. I don't know what the bag weighs, but every kg is important. Every kg is important. So always ensure that when you're weighing or when your driver is weighing whatever it is you take out of the vehicle, when they're weighing the vehicle or the truck with the goods, you also take that same thing out when the truck itself is weighing. Because if you leave it in the truck when the truck is weighing, it will count as the weight of the truck and they will subtract it from the initial measurement, the initial weight that was calculated, right? So please, this is a very important information. You might not get this information from the people you're supplying to. In fact, they want you to make that mistake. And it has also been known that there are some suppliers who, when they want to do the first they want to weigh it the first with the truck and the goods, they would add some stones inside the truck and then they will go and offload. Now when they are offloading it, they would offload those stones and throw them somewhere, right? And then the truck now comes back without the stones. So the weight of the stones would count as the weight of the goods itself too. So they always look out for those things. Please do not engage in activities like that, because once you're caught, you'll be blacklisted from supplying to that company again, and you don't want that. You want at least people to know that you're credible, you're reliable. Wow, I really hope you found this both fun and enlightening. Honestly, it stretched me too, but that's the beauty of growth. And at the heart of it all, the goal remains the same: helping as many people as possible stay on the right side of life and discover fresh, legit ways to earn from the very environment around us. If this added value to your day, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. That's how we keep this project alive and thriving. And trust me, we've got so much more exciting content lined up for you. Until we meet again, my name is Oluwaseun Aluko. Go out there and do something kind for someone today. You never know. You might just be the miracle they've been praying for.